everyone. MTL Sports Podcast here, episode 85. We are back. We didn't do episode last week. Your boy was traveling between Goat James and New York City. I was a little booked, so we're back for one episode this week. We're going to start where we left off. Divisions. We got the NFC South. So we're going to go over that today, grade their seasons. And then the off season, we'll see, what they've done in the off season and how they're going to, look moving forward. The draft is in a couple of weeks, so we still got a couple of divisions to knock out for the draft. So we'll get those things squared away, and then we'll have some rapid fire. We'll see what topics we have to end the show. But no further ado, let's go. NFC South, home of Lawrence's Carolina Panthers. Now, I guess we'll start with season grades, I guess. That's what we've been doing, right? So let's start, I guess, at the top of the division, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What would you grade their season, Lawrence, on the letter scale, A, B, C, D, or F?
Okay, I don't think anyone in the NFC South gets above a D.
Oh my God!
I don't think anyone in the NFC South gets above a D.
Okay.
I'll give Tampa Bay the benefit of the doubt. They get a D plus.
The
only reason they won the division is because they were less pathetic than the rest.
Okay, interesting.
Pretty much, in my opinion, the only way they did get as far and do as well as they did. Because as soon as they got into the playoffs, you saw they were a little bit lethargic, a little bit underwhelming.
Okay.
Got straight diddled. But anywho, I don't know. Looking at the division overall, and looking at just from the Buccaneers, it was a decent season, but it's not It's not. No, I'm just gonna say for the whole NFC South, there was no one in the NFC South that had anything to 20 years from now, this whole season that they all just went through is just complete wash. Like, it meant nothing to anyone in any of the divisions. None of your players retired, so no one's walking away forever that you've beloved and beholded for so long. And no one did anything of any value. Like, oh wow, we had one team make it to the playoffs. They did pretty mediocre in the playoffs. The only reason they made it there was truly because the rest of the division was so bad, and they all kept trying to lose just not to make it. Do you want to go down the list? Like, okay, Saints, you went out and you got a quarterback to try to fix what was wrong with you, and it didn't work. Maybe Derek Carr has been the problem the whole time. We don't know. Maybe if Derek Carr had any kind of reliable receiver outside Chris Olave. There's always that thing to open your eyes about. The rest of the wide receivers are just kind of there. Nothing amazing. Falcons. That was just pathetic. You honestly had the most talent in the division, and then won the third most games. I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure they finished behind the Saints. I guess this offseason, it's going to be memorable, but I'm pretty confident. We said for weeks there, the Heineke should have been the one to start over Ritter, and now Ritter is ceased to exist. I don't know where he is. I think he got traded somewhere. Maybe the Cardinals? I don't remember. Hey, he's gone. They got rid of him. Good riddance. He wasn't good. The Falcons are going to be good this year. There's something to look forward to for that. You're a Falcons fan. And then, the Carolina Panthers, that was just pit. That was just, it was the second worst season in franchise history in multiple categories. but it was also like, just overall, just the worst, season of all time. Like, you can just hear in my voice how draining watching the NFC South week to week was.
Yeah, not the best division, certainly. Like you said, it's tough to watch, but they got to go out and compete for 17 weeks, unfortunately. My opinion, I think the Buccaneers, their season was probably. I'm not gonna be harsh like you. I think if there be, the division was always for grabs, so them winning wasn't, um, in my opinion, like a miracle or anything like that. Like it's not outstanding work. Like the division is so bad that anyone could have won. Well, almost anyone. Um, sorry, but almost anyone could come out the division, on top and the champion. So I'm not going to give him too much praise there. Baker Mayfield did, I guess, research his career, got another contract. They kept Mike Evans, and this is kind of leading into my next question. Grading the offseason, how they look moving forward. I think moving forward, they're still gonna be able to compete. Like I said, they have Evans. They re-signed Baker. Hopefully, you can keep the same momentum. Um, their coach, who's a coach, Lovie Smith, right? Is that the coach?
No.
Yeah, it's not him. I forgot the coach's name, but yeah, I
Todd
think for
Bowles.
Todd Bowles, yes, Todd Bowles. I think he was on the hot seat. If they had, underachieved, he probably was gone. But they bought him some more time, at least another season or two. But I mean, with a division this bad and every year it's up for grabs, it seems like I'm not going to give you too much praise. So a B is where I'm standing, and in terms of moving forward, um, they pretty much have the same chances. We'll see what they do in the draft. But next team up, we got. Let's do the Saints. Now the Saints, like you already said, they thought that Derek Carr would fix their problems. It did not. He was also hurt for a good chunk of the season, in and out the lineup. Jameis, just being Jameis. Some people love him, some people hate him. It is what it is. How do you feel about the Saints season, Lawrence? What grade would you give them, and how do they look moving forward?
Give him a D.
Okay, another D, another D.
So the problem with the Saints, as someone in the division looking at it, and just being blunt, to another Saint fan watching, the O line is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the O line. I mean, it could do better. Obviously, they're not top. I wouldn't say they're top tier, but they're not the worst O line. If you have Chris Olave as wide receiver, and that's pretty much it. Half your games you watch, you're just dinking and dunking it down the field. Alvin Kamara every other play.
Yeah.
You went out and got Jamal Williams, and then didn't use him almost ever. And then your secondary gets hurt every single season, no matter what. The secondary could play, 2 games, and it's already decimated and almost completely gone. I think Marcus May, being there, I'm pretty sure he was like the only guy on the defense on the secondary side who wasn't hurt the whole season, and I think they let him walk. So there's big question marks with that. Yeah, you have probably the best corner in the division with Marcus Lattimore. Who cares? He doesn't play more than like 4 games, 5 games anyways.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you, Saints. Not on the D. I would give them a C. I feel like for me, they underachieved. I picked them to win this division. Not only on the show, but with my gambling dollars, unfortunately, that came to bite me in the butt. I think for them, I don't think Derek Carr is the whole issue, guys. I think it's just a combination of, the injuries, like you said, to the secondary. Derek Carr is injury prone. We all know this. But I have a feeling that this team doesn't really respect their head coach. I feel like half the team respects him, half the team kind of just Hey, he says something, it goes in one ear, out the other. I don't think he garners all the respect of everyone. So at times, that's why they will play one game and look amazing, like, oh man, they're gonna run away with this division, and then the next game they have a poop game, and we're like, bro, like what is going on? Like this is a game you easily could have won. What happened? So it's too many ups and downs for me. So C is the grade. Looking forward, they really got to have an outstanding draft to, I think, move forward, because I think they're in salary cap kind of hell, if I'm not mistaken. Like they really didn't have much of a free agency, so their biggest thing for them is hitting on these draft picks and hoping that these new young guys can bring some new energy into the locker room. Maybe the head coach can get them under control, and maybe instead of half the locker room, you have 65 to 75% of the locker room, in under your control, and maybe they'll get you like another game or two. And then if you're at 10 wins, 11 wins, yeah, you're probably going to win your division. But hitting on draft picks is probably the biggest thing for them, especially wide receiver. They need, with what's his name walked, the guy that was always hurt. I forgot who's the receiver that had like one good season and then like he was always hurt. Who's that? The dude on that team? Do you remember?
No, I know who
Not
you're talking about.
Not Marquise Colston, but what was the other
It's
guy
just
last?
Thompson, Michael Thompson.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, he had
just
one good season, and then he made it his whole persona that I had this season. I need to get paid. Oh,
mm,
dude, there's people who get more. I'm sorry, maybe you just peaked too early. In reality, you peaked too quick. You're supposed to peak right before your contract,
yeah.
not before your contract comes up.
Yeah. So they need someone to fill those shoes that he left years ago. Chris Olave can't do it all by himself, Guy going to his third year, he's going to need some help, because they're just going to focus on him, especially with Kamara getting up there in age. Next up, we have the Falcons. We already talked about them a little bit. Like you said, we were yelling and yelling for Mr. Taylor Heineke to take over for Riddler. Riddler was not the answer. I think we both said that going into the season. Riddler was not the answer, but they gave him a chance anyway, and they ended up 7-10, and they played the game of, hey, you start a couple of games. Hey, Taylor's going to start a couple of games. You're not giving guys time to like get into a groove, get into a flow. So it kind of just screwed the whole season. And Arthur Smith is, let's be honest, he's a pretty shit head coach. You're drafting all these, great players on offense, Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and you're not using them. So I don't have any sympathy for them in that regard. But Lawrence, how about you? Do you have any sympathy for them in terms of grades? Is this going to be another D?
You want to ask the Panthers fans if they have a sympathy for our Falcons? No, I don't have any sympathy for them. I think they got an F. You were the most talented team in the NFC South. You had more talent than the rest of them. You had the best O line in the division. Debatable, but you
Debatable.
probably have the best O line. The only comparable is the Buccaneers. You didn't have to deal with many injuries on your O line, so that shouldn't have been a problem. Your main fallout was the fact that you promised a guy you would start him, and then the head coach decided to just stay with the promise. Like, this isn't a business. Yeah, I can tell this guy, like, hey, I'm going to make you the manager of the store. And then 2 weeks into managing, the store is falling apart, and, people aren't showing up to work and all this other stuff. We have some questions. Another 2 weeks go by. This guy's still mismanaging the store, and the store looks like crap.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like he's got to go. You had that was 4 weeks in. You let him play for like 13 weeks before you finally called it quits. It's just sad. You were doing tight end arounds with Wanu Smith when you have Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Well, you have Bijan Robinson to do end arounds if you need to. But, Kyle Pitts is a faster guy than, Jonnu Smith. It just felt like he was trying to do more with less than just using the more that he had to get more. it's a lot of words said there that were the same, but regardless, I mean, moving ahead and looking at what they're gonna be, looking at this roster, I'm excited for the Falcons, because I think they're gonna be a little bit better, which makes me also a little bit more annoyed. But I also feel like there are a lot of phonies in multiple positions, and I don't know if it's right to say, but I think the head coach isn't that good either. I mean, they got Raheem Morris back to be the head coach, but he didn't do very good his first time around as a head coach. Um, I think he's living off the morals or royals of being a really good system with the Rams. I don't know how good he's actually come out of that, but I don't know. I mean, you saw Kirk Cousins before. He was never good underneath the defensive coordinator as a defensive guy as head coach. And now he's going to have a defensive guy as head coach when his best season was with an offensive guy. Questionable. Kirk Cousins is going to get you his, dose of winning. But when I talk about the phonies in the room, I mean, the wide receiving group is pretty much what I'm talking about. I don't think Drake London's amazing. This coming from a guy who watches him twice a year. I don't think Drake London's that amazing. I definitely don't think Darnell Mooney's that good, especially for what they paid him. I don't think Darnell Mooney's that good. And in Rondell Moore, I guess he had flashes at the Cardinals, but he never did anything at the Cardinals. I don't know what was the rush of trying to bring him in. You're back at Raymond McLeod. I mean, he's piggybacking on the fact that he's a good kick and punt returner. Maybe that's what they brought him in for because of the new changes to the special teams rule. And then also Kyle Pitts. Like, I think Kyle Pitts is a phony. Like, you can't tell me otherwise. I mean, the man doesn't score touchdowns. What does a tight end? What do the best tight ends do in all of history? They score a lot of touchdowns and they make a lot of big plays. He doesn't do either of those. He just makes plays, on first down or second down. Your tight end kind of like bails you out. Like, he's your bailout. Look at Kelsey, bailout. Greg Olsen in the Panthers back in the day, bailout. Gronk, bailout. Antonio Gonzalez, bailout. Shannon Sharp, bailout. I mean, they bail you out. They help you out when you most need it. That's why supposed to have great wide receivers around him and good running game. Kyle Pitts can't block. He's not a good blocker. So Bijan Robinson gets a demotion there because his tight end can't block very well for him. Kyle Pitts doesn't, stay healthy for 1, 2. He doesn't stay healthy, and 3. The biggest part is like I said, he doesn't score any touchdowns. So fantasy wise, he sucks too because he doesn't score any damn touchdown because they give all his touchdowns to the running back once they get to the end zone.
Yeah, I think you laid out some good points there.
I watch him enough.
I'm not gonna give them an F. I'll give them a D plus. Very underwhelming. Like you said, probably the most talented roster, and it's debatable, right? Not definitive, but debatable. So I mean, looking forward, Kirk, we'll see how he looks coming off the Achilles. I'm assuming quarterbacks Achilles probably doesn't matter, especially a guy who wasn't really mobile to begin with. I'm expecting him to come back, maybe be rusty for a little bit, but going from 7 to 9 wins with Kirk is very doable. They got a new head coach, like you said, Raheem Morris, defensive guy. Had the Rams playing some really good defense, but a lot of guys, Sean McVay gets a lot of guys paid, and I think this might be a product of that. Like you said, the Rams' success definitely, helped him with getting another job. And I think he's pretty young, too. I think he's like one of the youngest head coaches. I think he's only like 37, 38. So second stint at being a head coach. We'll see how it goes this time around. He has a good quarterback this time around. Although he's coming off injury and is older, he does have top 10-ish quarterback. So that'll carry him somewhat. Like I said, 9 wins is very doable. Like you say, reading the roster a little bit, Kyle Pitts, I don't have too many hesitations about him other than the fact that he's injury prone, but I think actually having a quarterback back there that can get him the ball, I feel like his numbers will go up this year. I feel like he'll be a nice sleeper in fantasy. Now, Mooney, I will agree with you. I think he's a fraud. I've seen this guy too many times drop balls. I mean, look at the Bears last year. They didn't they lose a game because he dropped a pass in the end zone.
I think
Like
they've lost multiple games because he dropped the ball in crucial point.
crucial moments. Yeah, I just don't. I don't think the guy is great. I think he's just a speedster. He can blow the top off of coverages, but we need to make a catch. He usually doesn't make a catch. Now, Ron, I'm pretty high on Moore. I seen the flashes in Arizona. They really didn't give him a second chance or much of any chances this past season. So I think a change of scenery was good for him. I think he can flash and be a good number two. Drake London, like you said, I'm not completely sold on him. I need to see more. But like I said, they got Kirk, so hopefully they'll bring out some more good than the bad in him. I think Kirk can make him into, I'm not going to say a top number one, but one that's like serviceable, right? Like, yeah, this guy's on your team. Yeah, he's your number one. Yeah, he's going to be around 1,000 yards, but he's not gonna be flashy. He's not gonna be a total game changer. I think that's the role of a Drake London. Defensive wise, I think they're fine. I think the D lineman is probably where they need to look, where they need to address in the draft. But they definitely, for me, they need to get Arthur Smith out of there because that guy's an idiot. One last team to go over here, guys. I think we are with your Carolina Panthers. Not the best season. We won't go too much into that, but I guess in terms of grades, Lawrence, what's your grade for your Panthers? And tell us how the path is going to look moving forward. How far away are you guys from competing in this division? I guess is the best way to frame the question.
Okay. So last season, they don't get an F, they don't get a D, they don't get any kind of grade. They just get a did not show, did not report, tardy. They don't get any grade. That's just how bad. Like you're the worst of the worst.
They
Yeah,
get incomplete.
You didn't even show up to your final exam. That's what happened. Automatic failure. Second, according to most statistics, it was their second worst season of all time because they went 2-15. Their other worst was 1-15. They won the first game and then they lost the rest of them. But even that team had better stats than this team. Interesting stat: this team never had any lead going into the fourth quarter. Their 2 wins were off of last-second field goals. So now we're moved on from that. Team was awful. Everything about it was awful. I don't think there was anything about the team that was correct in any way. However, I am looking at a much brighter future with D&D, Dave and Dan. Dave Canales is the head coach. Do I think he's any good? I have no idea. We don't know anything about him. That might be the best part. We don't know anything about him. That means no one else knows anything about him. He's high energy. If you're going to try to fix something that's just lousy like this, you probably need high energy. Dan Morgan has said he wants some dogs. He wants to bring dogs. Which is perfectly fine if you're going to sign Derek Brown to an extension, because whenever else was quitting on the team, Derek Brown has the most tackles done by a defensive tackle in the NFL history. So Derek Brown, props to you. You kept getting stops when needed. He was helped the fact that the other teams were always trying to run the ball. The wide receivers were the worst thing of all. Like it was god awful. I think they were ranked the worst group in all of the NFL. They had 2 of the top guys who could not get open. Jonathan Mingo and DJ Chark ranked 2 of the highest, unable to get open. And Thielen, what a stud. I'm happy to have him. Deontay Johnson, Every day it grows on me a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, you weren't high on him when it happened. I remember.
The fact that we went interior line, so now we have two good guards. Austin Corbett's coming off injury, so we're gonna move him to center. I'm a little hesitant, but I'm okay with it. As long as Ike Ekwonu has a good, junior season, I think the line's fine. We might need some depth, so you just might have to get something in the third and fourth round. Team desperately needs a edge rusher because we lost Derek
Brian Burns.
Burns. We lost Burns. We desperately need a wide receiver. And no one's talking about it, but I think we desperately need a corner. I'm not going to be the one that says that the C.J. Henderson's awful. I didn't think C.J. Henderson was the worst. Do I think he's good? No. But at least he wasn't hurt. And that's my problem. And that's kind of the twist you have to put on it. Like, at least he wasn't hurt. Like every other corner we have is hurt. I shit on Marcus Lattimore earlier. Fair. He might only get to play 5 games a season. At least he's not J.C. Horn, who plays 4 games a season. So they get 1 extra game out of him than we get with J.C. Horn. Do I think J.C. Horn is good? Yeah, he's super good when he plays. He plays like 4 games. I'm glad they brought Troy Hill back. He's good in that dime package, sometimes nickel. Do you want to slide him in there because your whole team is injured? Shaq Thompson took another pay cut. I feel really bad because man is literally the epitome of Charlotte. I can't believe they did my man like that. He's too good for that. Josie Jewell, I think it's going to be better that he plays middle linebacker than Shaq. That's just been his role. I think Shaq is better on a left or a right side kind of linebacker because Shaq can do a little bit more. And then I think it's just what Shaq grew up with. Like Shaq when he first started, he had Luke Kuechly with him, so he was playing left outside linebacker. That's just how he developed. And I feel like his better days were always as left outside linebacker. But yeah, in our draft, we definitely need to go corner. We definitely need to go defensive end and wide receiver. If we do anything other than that, it better be best player available. Other than that, I want a whole season of Chuba Hubbard as a starting running back. Sorry, not sorry. If there's a way, and I don't know who can hear me, but if there's a way we can cut Miles Sanders or trade Miles Sanders, by all means. Man was a bum. I'd rather have Raheem Blackshear and Chuba Hubbard at the helm going tandem for tandem. Because no offense, I just feel like they were way better. Raheem super fast. He's our kick punt returner. Oh yeah, Amir Smith-Marset. I'm glad they gave Boy another year too. The abilities that he has, amazing. How many wins I think we'll get? I'm pretty sure I saw the over/under at 4.5. I think it's a safe over at 5 wins.
Okay, you heard it here first. I'm with you. I'm gonna do a grade. I'm gonna give a D. I don't think it's an F.
It's the worst season in franchise history.
It's a D. I think the team, they did okay. I think Carolina's problem, I think, is ownership. And I think you probably agree. I feel like
I don't even
who's your owner, David Tepper or whatever his name is. He's if Darian Snyder was still in the league, he would be the second worst owner. But I think he took over as worst owner after they kicked out Snyder. And I don't think this guy's done anything egregious to get kicked out. So you might just have to deal with this rich billionaire dude for the foreseeable future.
The pet peeve is the fact that he's like, oh man, look how much I've done for Charlotte. No offense, I don't care. I don't care what you did for Charlotte. I don't really care.
Yeah, that doesn't give you a pass for all the other bad decisions you made about the football team, and you were once, contending to at least win the division year in and year out, and now it's just I don't know, a rebuilding phase, which every team goes through. So it's not the end of the world. But I'll give you guys a D. Definitely have a lot to improve, but I'm not gonna ramble too much on. He pretty much laid out everything. But in terms of the draft, though, you guys don't have a first round pick, so I think my one question to you is, what's the strategy? Do you guys try to trade for a first round pick, or do you just stay pat and just use the cards that you were dealt? Do you just hey?
You accept the fate that you were dealt. I think the unfortunate thing is you have the 33rd overall pick and you have the 39th overall pick. 33rd overall pick is basically just the end of the second or end of the first round.
End of the first, yeah.
39th overall pick, if there's something available and someone wants to trade up, I'm okay with it. They give us like another third or a fourth. Other than that, I think there's just no way of touching it. I mean, you pretty much have to get, two things done at once. In my opinion, in my opinion, at 33, you got to take the best wide receiver available.
Yeah.
Or the one you feel the most comfortable with, which I'm pretty sure is going to be like Leggett from South Carolina, which, completely fine with. Or if you feel comfortable at 33 and say like Leggett, Worthy, and like, I don't know, Conkey, and I don't know, maybe one more guy you're high on are all still there at 33 for somehow, we're just saying somehow. If they're all there still at 33, I think you just take the best defensive end or corner that you can at 33, and then you get what you're given at 39 for wide receiver. It might be bumming if you lost like Leggett and Conkey, but if somehow Worthy, which he won't, if somehow whoever you're looking at is still there at 39, you just pick them up. But you gotta either go corner or you gotta go defensive end. Because right now, I mean, I know it says we're in a 3-4 defense. There's no way Alshon Robinson is literally an edge rusher. There's no way. The man's too big. Derek Brown, in your way, he an edge rusher, man. He too big. But DJ Wanham, I mean, he's alright. He's kind of the product of a lot of blitz schemes. Carolina does not blitz a lot. Javon Clowney, I mean, he's a little older, but he's alright. He's alright. I think the biggest thing is the rumor in the middle is going that Stephon Gilmore is interested in coming to the Carolinas. I'm pretty confident it's one of those things he's probably going to do like a little retirement. He's probably got like 2 or 3 good more years left in him. I think he wants to set up place where he's close to home, kind of like what Clowney did. Clowney's whole reason why coming back to Charlotte is I think his grandpa is sick, to be closer to family, and he has a house already in the South Carolina area. So does Gilmore. So Gilmore already has ties to the team. Our general manager has alluded to the fact that it was a mistake getting rid of him. So if things can happen, please.
Okay.
Having Gilmore will be all right. I don't think we're going to be game changing, but I think it'll give us a little bit more due.
Okay, fair stuff. All right, well, that's the NFC South, y'all. I think in terms of how they line up against the other divisions in the NFC, I think it's safe to say they're probably the worst division in the NFC. Would you probably agree with that?
Not going into the next season, no, I would not.
This past season, they were the worst. We'll see how they look moving forward as a division as a whole. But up next, guys, we have some rapid fire. We'll talk about some subjects: NBA, college, UFC 300 this Saturday. Lawrence has some locks for you, so stay tuned. All right, everyone, we're back. Rapid fire time. We haven't done rapid fire in a pretty long time, so let's just kick it off. We're not going to rehash, some of the other things that happened this past week, but we'll just quickly go over, I guess. Women's college final. South Carolina won, pulled off the dub. Iowa, they kind of hung in there when Clark was scoring, but when she's not scoring, they don't really have a chance. UConn, like I said last episode, I believe, there's no team in the tournament that was good enough to beat them. They steamroll Purdue. Hopefully everyone picked UConn. And WrestleMania was this past weekend. Pretty fantastic. Day 1 and day 2 were 11 out of 10 for me. Lawrence, did you get a chance to catch WrestleMania?
I did. I was getting some play-by-play what I thought. I thought the AJ Styles match was pretty good.
Yeah.
I Show Speed got RKO'd into another universe.
Logan Paul bought him apparently a Cybertruck today, so hopefully it was worth it getting RKO'd on the table. That definitely made night too, though. That was awesome.
I like that Cody Rhodes finally took the belt away.
Finish the story, yeah.
And it's a little shame, but Seth Rollins is going to be gone for a while, so.
Yeah, I mean, all respect to our tribal chief. We acknowledge him. Ones are still in the air, but I think it was time to let a new guy take the throne for a little bit. Final Boss said he's going to step away, so we're not going to see The Rock for a little bit. Maybe he'll come back. People will speculate in SummerSlam. He might be coming back, trying to ramp up for next year's WrestleMania. Or maybe
he's got an XFL season, or sorry, USFL season to run.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good segue. UFL first home game. The DC Defenders won. I forgot who they played, but I watched the game. Didn't go because I got back late Saturday night, so I really didn't feel like traveling all the way back to DC to watch.
It was the Roughnecks.
To watch that game in person. Lawrence, did you catch the game at all?
Oh yeah, I caught it. I watched all of it. I can give you the synopsis of what's wrong with our team and why we're not that good.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so you remember how last season, Teamu's not bad. Just Teamu's not
I think he was MVP, right? He was MVP.
Okay, you can say he was MVP all you want. if you're gonna sit here and try to tell me that AJ McCarron, Ben DiNucci weren't better quarterbacks last season, they just weren't on a more complete team.
Yeah.
Then you're just fooling yourself because he was just on a more complete team. But Ben DiNucci and AJ McCarron were better quarterbacks.
I agree.
I don't think Teamu's bad. I don't think Teamu's bad. I think he's got a very clutch gene within him. Did
you see that throw in the fourth in the end zone?
Mm-hmm. I think Teamu's not that bad. My only problem with Teamu, just slightly, is he's not getting it to the right guys.
Oh.
And what I'm saying is the I don't know their names. The white boy tight end, feed his ass. Just feed him. He catches everything.
Well, apparently the Defenders, he said in an interview, I caught this on sports radio. Apparently they don't have any receiver from last season. They're all gone.
Nope. No, they all went to almost all of them are in the NFL right now.
Wow.
But my problem is, okay, there's a guy, I think his name's Coutee, 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 whatever his name is. He is booty. He is downright just straight up booty. He's bad. He couldn't catch a ball. And the only time I saw him, other than the fact that the ball was placed into his chest and it was impossible not to catch. Mind you, he did drop one of them that was almost impossible to catch. He had one going down the seam and he would have been a straight up touchdown and he let it go through his hands. But somehow he makes it a miraculous catch on the sidelines and it doesn't count because he was out of bounds. But the Coutee guy, gotta stop throwing him the ball too often. He's not that good. He's alright. He's like the definition of just alright. He's not very good.
Coutee, Texas
he's not
Tech.
good.
Number 81, right? 5'10".
No good.
Okay.
Stop throwing him the ball every other play. And another thing is our running back is gone too. The amazing running back we had last year, he's not there.
Yeah, he's gone. I noticed that.
And we're trying to do these screenplays all the time. It's not working. No offense, but like if something doesn't work, you
Stop
have to
doing it.
you gotta understand it's just not working.
Yeah.
But I don't know. At the defense, I think the defense is fine. The defense plays hard nosed. Greg Williams, I don't know if you watched the very end of the game, but with like 3 or 4 seconds left, the other team's at like 25. They ran man coverage.
Yeah.
No one even in the end zone playing prevent. Not even a single safety playing prevent. Because I had money on the money line, and I had this huge parlay, and they were the last leg. I nearly pissed myself when I watched that guy go basically untouched down the middle, and the quarterback just overthrew him. I
Yeah. Pretty
was about to be
controversial.
pissed. I was about to be
The
pissed.
commentators were pissed for us because they were like, "What the hell were they thinking?" They got so lucky. That game should have been the other team. Like they should have won.
And D. Stroring's already out. I mean, he's gone.
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going. He fractured his neck going for that tackle. I don't know if you guys seen the clip. It's on Twitter. It's everywhere. He just ran up to the guy, hit him out of bounds, and fractured his neck. He has a neck brace and everything, y'all. That's crazy.
Yeah, he went head first, bro. Did you see the tackle? He literally tackled head first.
Yeah, I mean he's a kicker. Probably shouldn't be trying to tackle, just shove the guy out of bounds. But it just sucks. He tried for so long to get into the NFL, bro. This seemed like the one path to get there. I mean that one kid on the Michigan Panthers. Yeah, he's definitely going to NFL. But I mean, hey, there can always be more. But yeah, it sucks. It definitely sucks.
Yeah, D. Stroring's gonna have to ride another year in the UFL.
Yeah, I mean he makes a lot of money off of YouTube, but this was more just of putting stuff on tape. I feel like.
Well, another thing is the Stallions, the Bremerton Stallions. I think they're just so much better than the rest of the league.
So did they keep most of their roster from the USFL side? Like
pretty much, they kept a lot of it.
Oh,
and
wow.
the Brahmas are like night and day better. They were like the worst team in the XFL last year, and they're so much better. But they also have Wade Phillips as their head coach. So
yeah. God damn, man. Defenders are still undefeated at home, y'all. So I guess we looked pretty bad the first game on the road. I'm not going to lie. We looked pretty ass. But I guess we're keeping the streak alive at home. I think we'll be at the rest of the games. I think the next home game is the 27th or 28th. So we got a few weeks out. But we'll be live on the scene whenever that is. And we'll be ready to throw some lemons. Beer Snake is still alive. I saw some clips. Don't know about the lemons. Moving on, guys. Bless you. We got some UFC to cover. NBA. NBA is in a weird time where a lot of teams are coasting or teams are trying to fight to get out the play-in. So it's not much to cover. Play-in tournament actually starts the 16th, so we got 6 days.
you want to pull up the NBA real quick? Because I don't think the West is too up in the air. But I was talking to
the Mavericks just won the division last night, so I don't think that the Mavs, I know for sure, can't be in the play-in. Same with the Clippers. I think we're waiting on the Pelicans and Suns. I think this is the 6th spot is the last thing that's available in terms of not being in the play-in, I want to say.
So for the East, I guess I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but
let's hear it.
Okay, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, is your goal to? What are your goals here? Because Giannis just went down.
Yeah, I want to say. Go ahead.
And Middleton is in and out, constantly out of the lineup as well. So you're the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, I know it's a hard thing to say, but are you purposely trying to position yourself? Basically, I'm going to say, are they going to try to tank the rest of the season and hope the Knicks pass them or something? So they might have to play someone easier. Because no offense, if I'm the Bucks, and I'm sitting there and I see the 76ers or the Heat being that team I play first round, I don't want it. I don't want it.
They're in
I
a
don't
tough
want the
spot
smoke.
because Sixers could technically move up too. Same with the Heat. The Heat's a little bit harder. I think the Heat need to win out, and either the Magic or Cleveland needs to lose out, or the Pacers. But a lot of things have to happen for the Heat to move up. Sixers, I think their path to move up is just a lot easier. Just probably the Pacers have to lose, which is very doable. If, like you said, if you're the Bucks, you don't want to play the Sixers. Miami, you probably won't play them. So I don't really think moving or losing on purpose really helps anything because the Sixers could move up, you know? And if you stay pat, the Sixers could stay pat as well. So they're really in a tough spot. I think even Cleveland could give them problems. Maybe Cleveland falls. Maybe Cleveland loses the last couple of games and they fall to 6 or 7. Cleveland could give the Bucks problems. I don't think they're going to win a first round series without Giannis, and he's not going to come back after 3 games. You see what happened to Kevin Durant after in 2019 when he came back after 1 series, which is a week and a half. No, he tore his Achilles. The same thing is going to happen here if he comes back in a week and a half. He's going to tear his Achilles or tear his calf, one of the two. So the Bucks, they're cooked. If you're a Bucks fan, I'm sorry, but you're probably one and done. I don't think Dame can carry this team that's already kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, that was my whole thing with asking about the East, because, you don't know how bad the Giannis thing is, but if it's any tiny bit bad, I mean, you're just kind of screwed, because where they're sitting right now, there's just no team that you're going to match up well against. Because, okay, say you finish second and the 76ers finish 7th. It's like, dude, Lillard can take out Maxey. He can eliminate Maxey, in which he scores enough points, same amount of points Maxey will. But, is Embiid coming back? Big question mark. He says he's going
back.
to.
Embiid's been back for about a week.
Oh, well, I didn't know. But anywho, without Giannis, that's just a horrible thing to think about, because now you have no one else to cover that part, because that how you're going to bleed out from that. So I don't know. I just think the interesting one is, the Bucks. I mean, it's a rough spot. If you're the Knicks, I just know no matter what. Sorry, they don't want to face the Cavaliers. They do not want that back to back. If I'm the Knicks, I also do not want the Cavaliers.
Yeah, Knicks are cooked. No Randall. OG is in and out the lineup. I don't even think he's 100% if he even does play. So I think the Knicks are cooked as well. They gotta hope they stay in that 3rd spot because the Pacers, they could probably beat the Pacers, but honestly, the Magic and Cleveland are looking kind of scary for the Knicks. I don't think they would beat either of those teams.
Agreed.
So yeah, in the West though, it's pretty much just jockeying for those.
The West has too many variables in which that can happen.
Yeah.
To even kind of even talk about it yet. I mean, who's eliminated, but pretty much Golden State's pretty much playing the first game. They're pretty much playing 9-10. I don't even know if that's true because the Kings should follow. I don't know. See, the thing with the West is there's too many variables, man. There's just too much, and it's my brain too tiny for that.
Yeah, that's probably something we would have to go over on Monday when everything's more concrete. Because right now, too many things can happen that there's too many scenarios. Like I said, too many scenarios. My brain isn't that big enough either, so we will refrain from talking about that. One thing we won't refrain talking about is this UFC 300. Dana White said it today. The biggest fight card he has put together, the best, the biggest. All the stars are going to come out. They're playing inside of the dome or whatever that thing is called in Las Vegas, right? What is that damn thing called?
You mean the Sphere? I thought they were in MGM Grand. I thought they were in MGM Grand.
I thought he said
says the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. I think the fight is going to be broadcasted on the Sphere.
Ah, okay.
I think the whole entire city of Vegas is going to watch the fight on the Sphere. But I know they're at the MGM Grand. When they
Okay.
have all the big.
He definitely said he wanted to have a fight there. I did, maybe he couldn't get it in time. But Lawrence, give us a little preview of UFC 300.
So the fighter with the most fights in UFC history, Jim Miller will almost start the card, not quite. I'm looking for Jim Miller to get a win. He's plus 150. So really good odds for Jim Miller. Another upset I'm also looking at. I'm just looking at both upsets straight off the gate. I think Cody Garbrandt in his last fight looked really good. Stevenson Figueredo has been kind of regressing in his age. I think Cody Garbrandt, this is kind of a stage for him to show out again. So I would probably take Garbrandt in that as an upset. I would not probably put it in any parlays because you might start off sad. But I think Jim Miller is a good enough pick to put into a parlay because Bobby Green is nothing amazing, but Jim Miller, he's on a five fight win streak. He's like 41 years old, 42 years old, and he said last time he had to knock the guy out in the first round in order for him to feel comfortable to fight in UFC 300. What did he do? He knocked the guy out in the first round. So if whatever Jim Miller says, I will listen because man is just probably on some cocaine. Anywho, Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. I mean, that's going to be an amazing fight. Marina is mommy. Anywho, I don't
Mommy
know
is
who
in
would
the
win that.
WWE.
I don't know who's going to win that one. That one's a little bit harder to call. I would probably leave that one alone, but just enjoy your time watching it. Jalen Turner is going to rock the floor with Renato. Don't even have to question it. Don't look twice at it. Sodiq Yusuf. Don't be surprised he pulls up an upset. Holly Holmes. I'm pretty sure Holly Holmes was not going to be fighting Kayla Harrison beforehand. I think this is someone they threw in last second. Don't quote me on that, but I think Holly Holm will win. I just think that's just how it's going to go.
Okay.
Next, Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. I'm going to sound like a hater, but I'm pretty sure Calvin Kattar is going to murder Aljamain Sterling. The only problem with Aljamain Sterling is you just know there's always something wrong when they don't let the champion immediately rematch the new champion. You just know there's something fishy with it. And I think that's kind of how I feel with Aljamain Sterling. And the fact that he moved from bantamweight and is going to fight at featherweight, it's a lot of question marks. And Calvin Kattar's trying to move up the ranks. Like he's trying to get up there. The next fight, light heavyweight. I'm going to say the best bet is probably
It's a close fight.
Fight not to go the distance is probably the best bet. Someone is getting knocked out. My question is, and my pet peeve is that Bo Nickel is in the main event, and the fight that is just right there, the light heavyweight fight, or Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Kattar. The fact that either one of those is not in the main event, and Bo Nickel versus Cody Brunage, I think that's his name, is ridiculous. They're trying to push this Bo Nickel storyline a little too hard, or I don't know what you want to call it, but I don't think he's a good wrestler, but I'm not sold. I think he's boring.
Yeah, Dana White did say today that apparently he thinks any fight in the whole from early prelims on could be in the main event. So take that for how it is.
But I don't think they should be in the main event. I just don't. If I'm going to pay for a pay-per-view, don't want to see Cody. I don't want to see Bo Nickel and Cody Brunage. Sorry, not sorry. But I'm happy that you gave me. I'm happy you gave me two of them for free. Two good ones for free. I mean, Charles Oliveira versus Arman. Not even gonna try to say his last name. I need it said ahead of time. Arman's gonna win. I think Charles Oliveira, just like him, and I forget who he's been fighting for the last year or so. I think they're falling out. Like it's not what they used to be. So I think Armand is part of the new wave of guys. I look for him to get the knockout. Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. I'm gonna go Max Holloway just because I'm a Max Holloway lover. I'm his boy. I'm a ride or die with him. I'm
Okay.
also not that much of a Justin Gaethje fan either, so I'm a ride or die with Max Holloway.
Okay.
Um, Probably Zhang Wei or is Zhang Wei. Yeah. I think she's gonna win. I think the champion's gonna keep her belt. I mean, for the main event, I'm feeling spicy.
Let's hear it.
I don't think Alex Pereira is all that good. I think they just gave him a title straight out the gate
Yeah.
because he beat Adesanya back in the day when they were doing kickboxing and whatnot. I think Hill can take him. I think Hill can take him because Alex Pereira. I'm pretty sure he went up a weight class, and they immediately gave him a title fight when he went up in weight class. You know how that makes Jamal Hill feel? That makes him feel like shit. And he's 12-1. My man's is 12-1, man. He's 12-1. He's only lost one freaking time.
Yeah.
He's got his leg reach is just as good. His arm reach is just as good. I'm going with Jamal, man.
Yeah. I think Pereira, like you said, was basically gifted a championship belt myself. So I'm gonna go Mr. Jamal Hill. Hopefully he can pull it off. Yeah, that was great. That was great. Some good advice there. Um, yeah, I think that's all we got for the UFC, and I think that's all we got for Rapid Fire, guys. Any final thoughts before we head on out, Lawrence? Last episode of the week.
No, I don't have any final thoughts. I mean, I guess one of my final thoughts was, I thought it was a good March Madness and all. I was just a little bummed because I don't think, in my opinion, I didn't think Purdue was that deserving. And when I say that, it's like, did it not look like the half the time they were playing all those games that, Zach Edey was just getting force fed and they were just letting him get calls every other game. And then they finally got a game in which the refs didn't carry them and they got blown. They got beat up.
Yeah.
They
kept
finally
it
got to a
close.
game. And I wasn't even going to say like the refs were calling it on the favor of UConn. No, they were calling a lot of fouls on UConn too. It's just that they were finally calling fouls on Edey. He was finally running over people and getting called for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it took until the final game, but I just think it's bogus that they literally got there because the refs kind of forced them through. And then when they finally got to the end, no offense, I think there have been some other teams that Purdue played along the way that would have put up a better fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just gonna. I meant to ask this question, but how do we feel about Coach Cal apparently going to Arkansas? The deal is, I think, I don't know if it's official yet, but it's pretty much, done. How do we feel about Coach Cal leaving Kentucky? Kentucky, I think when we first got there, went to a couple Final Fours, Sweet 16s, but ever since 2019, he hasn't made it out the second round.
My opinion.
Let's hear it.
Is I think because Kentucky is just known for being a one and done. Like
one and done.
I go there for one and done. He wants to build his legacy. And so he needs like a Coach K kind of vibe,
Yeah.
I need a program that's going to actually have guys that want to go to college and play 4 years, or I need to have a good spot to have NILs go to. So I need some homegrown money.
Need some money.
So I'm pretty sure Kentucky got money, but the only people that are attracted to Kentucky are one and dones. So go to a college an SEC college that's going to give you a lot of money, use NIL, and the people you get to go to Arkansas are going to be there for the long one. They're going to play for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to at least play 3. So he's trying to get a Duke vibe going. He's trying to have a Duke. He's trying to recreate his own Duke so he can be his own Coach K. In my opinion, because he took a pay cut to do it. If you're taking a pay cut, I think it's about legacy rather than anything else. It's about legacy. So.
Yeah, I'm about to agree. I mean, if he didn't leave this year, they would have probably bought him out next year. So I'm not knocking him for leaving. Now, people deservedly so, are knocking him for not winning more. I mean, one championship with Anthony Davis is good and all, but like you said, to have like a Coach K legacy, to have a Roy Williams legacy, to have a Dean Smith legacy, all those good coaches, you gotta win more than one. You can't keep losing in the second round. So uh, apparently, he's like really good friends with the Tyson's, whoever owns Tyson's Chicken or whatever. Apparently, that's how he's getting most of his NIL money. I don't know if you know too much about that, but
I don't know anything about that.
apparently that's like a good of the $5 million I think that he has in NIL money to give out to kids. I think that's a good chunk of it. I didn't know Tyson's Chicken or whatever was founded or headquartered in Arkansas, but I know at one point Arkansas was pretty good in football. I don't know about nowadays, but
They're average. They're all right.
yeah, I mean, if you're in the SEC, I think you're not ass. You might be ass in the SEC, but if you play anyone else, you're probably decent, right?
Probably whip some mediocre Big Ten teams.
Yeah, sure enough. So yeah, that's my final thought. Other than that, guys, that's all we got for you this episode. One episode this week. Next week we'll hopefully be back on a more regular schedule. So be waiting for a Tuesday and Thursday episode. But other than that, MTL Sports Podcast, episode 85, y'all. We're gonna sign off for the week, sign off for the night, and we'll see you next week. Peace out, y'all.